Put that down. Put your father's tools down right now. Those were the first words out of my mouth the morning everything in my life split open like old wood under a hammer. My voice did not sound like mine. It shook anger, disbelief, grief all tangled together, yet my son did not even flinch. He did not look up. He just kept counting the cash in his palm, lips tight, eyes cold, as if I were the one invading his space. In my own garage, I remember the sound of metal clinking against the concrete floor. A wrench, heavy, familiar. My husband Robert had used that very wrench for 37 years, tightening pipes, fixing neighbors' lawnmowers, teaching our son the difference between patience and force. Now Daniel let it fall without a single flicker of emotion. "Relax, Mom," he said, folding the bills and sliding them casually into his back pocket. "It is just stuff, just stuff." Those two words hit me harder than every funeral I had ever attended. Harder than the night I lost Robert. Harder than the day Daniel slammed the door as a 17-year-old and swore he would never depend on anyone ever again. I stepped fully into the garage, the same garage that still smelled faintly of sawdust and motor oil, the same place I had stood beside my husband through countless winters. My slippers scraped the floor. I was painfully aware of how small I must have looked in that doorway, a 70-year-old woman in a cardigan with trembling fingers and thinning hair, while my son towered over a lifetime of memories he was pawning off for quick cash. "What are you doing?" I asked, softer now, because the rage had given way to something more fragile. "Fear." He shrugged and nodded toward the yard. A man was waiting by a dark pickup truck, scrolling through his phone like he could not care less about the bargain he had just made. "He bought the set. I told him he could take the toolbox too." I swallowed hard. "Your father polished that toolbox every month. Why would you sell it?" Finally, Daniel met my eyes. "I wish he had not. Because I need money. And because they are mine now. They are not yours," I whispered. "They belong to the family." "They were your father's," he smirked. Actually smirked. "And he left them to me." Something in my chest twisted. No, he did not. "I have the papers, Mom." He turned toward a cardboard box on the workbench, the one I thought held Robert's old jackets. "You signed them." I felt my stomach drop like I had stepped off a cliff. "Signed what?" But before he could answer, before the lie could leave his lips, there was a knock on the side door. "The man with the truck?" No, his truck was already backing out of the driveway. This knock was harder, sharper, impatient. Daniel froze. For a moment, I thought he looked scared. "Is that?" I began. He did not let me finish. "Do not talk. Stay here." He rushed to the door and cracked it open just an inch. A low voice whispered harshly from outside. "You are late." "Where is the rest?" My blood ran cold. Daniel whispered back, "I told you. I am sorting it out. Just give me no more time." The man shoved the door wider, revealing a face I had never seen before. Broad shoulders, a scar down his jaw. The kind of man who did not come for tools. "Friday, that is it. 10,000. You know the consequences." Daniel's jaw tightened. His voice wavered just enough for me to hear the truth in it. "I will get it. I promise. You better." The man glanced inside and his eyes skimmed right over me like I was not there. Like I was not even human. Then he left. The door slammed. Silence filled every crack of the garage. I steadied myself on the workbench. "Daniel, what was that?" He dragged both hands over his face. "Nothing you need to worry about." "Nothing?" I took a step forward. "That man just threatened you. It is under control. What have you done?" He did not answer. Did not need to. I already knew. I had known the moment he smirked. The moment he let his father's wrench fall. The moment he said he had papers with my signature. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. And I was about to learn that the tools were only the beginning. Because 3 hours later, when I finally gathered the courage to open that cardboard box on the workbench, I found documents with my name forged in neat, practice loops. Power of attorney, property transfer, authorization for medical decisions. And worst of all, a letter requesting early access to my life insurance benefits. My life insurance. As if I were already dead. I sat on the cold concrete floor, shaking, holding papers that made me feel like a ghost in my own life, and I whispered to no one at all. Am I crazy? Or did my son just sign my life away? I should have called someone. The police, a lawyer, a friend, but I did not. Because mothers do not want to believe their sons are capable of evil. Because even at 70 years old, I still wanted to protect him. But the next day, when I noticed the faint taste of bitterness in my morning tea, when I caught him standing over my pill organizer, when I realized he had lied about buying groceries, lied about my doctor appointment, lied about everything, that is when the truth finally knocked not with fists, but with dread. My son did not just want money. He wanted control. He wanted everything. And he did not care if that meant losing me. Not at all. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel's face, tight, annoyed, almost resentful every time I spoke his name. It was a look a stranger would give a stray dog begging near a restaurant door. Not the look a son gives the mother who held his feverish body through childhood, who worked 2 jobs to keep him in school, who buried a husband and carried the world on shaking shoulders. Around 2 in the morning, I heard him talking. Low, urgent. I pressed my ear to my bedroom door. I told you I am handling it, he whispered. I will get the old woman to sign the rest. She is confused half the time anyway. Yeah, Friday. I know, old woman. Confused. Sign the rest. Those words crawled under my skin like ice. I stepped back from the door, hands over my mouth. My heart hammered so loud I worried he would hear it. I tiptoed to my bed and sat on the edge until my knees stopped rattling. Am I confused? Have I forgotten things? Have I misremembered? That is the cruel thing about aging. Everyone treats your doubts like evidence against you. And if they repeat it long enough, you start to wonder if they are right. By sunrise, I had made a decision. I was not going to wait for Friday. I was not going to wait for whatever consequences that scarred man promised. I needed answers, proof, something solid. So I put on my thickest coat, grabbed the keys Robert used to hang by the kitchen door, and left before Daniel woke up. I did not drive to the police. I did not drive to a neighbor. No, I drove to the lawyer who handled my husband's estate. When I opened the office door, the receptionist blinked at me like she was seeing a ghost. Maybe she was. I certainly did not feel alive. Mrs. Lawson? She said softly. Are you all right? I need to see Mr. Pierce, I told her. She hesitated. Do you have an appointment? No, my voice cracked. But I need to see him. She must have seen something in my face, fear, desperation, something, because she led me straight back. When Mr. Pierce looked up from his desk, he stood immediately. Helen, he said gently. What has happened? I handed him the papers I had pulled from the box. He did not sit. He did not breathe. He scanned each page with widening eyes, then looked at me with a heaviness I had only seen once before when he helped me sign Robert's death certificates. Helen, these signatures are not yours, he said. I felt the air leave my lungs. I know, this is a legal disaster. A felony. Your son, he stopped himself, choosing his words like stepping stones across a minefield. These documents were created recently. Very recently. How recently? 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. That was when Daniel insisted on handling the mail. When he moved my bill drawer. When he told me the bank had made a mistake and he needed my ID just for a minute. What can I do? I whispered. We need to revoke them immediately. And Helen, you need protection. Real protection. I shook my head. I am not going to destroy my son's life. He stared at me for a long time before saying, Your son is already destroying yours. I left the office shaking. The winter wind stabbed my cheeks as I walked to the car. I gripped the steering wheel until my fingers turned white. On the drive home, I thought about every small moment I had brushed aside over the past year, the missing checks, the pharmacy error with my medication, The lost hospital bill. The voicemail from my doctor saying I had missed an appointment I did not know I had. The time Daniel snapped, "Stop asking questions, Mom. You are worse every day, worse every day." The words echoed like a taunt, a plan, an excuse he was building. But nothing prepared me for what I found when I walked back into the house. Daniel was at the kitchen table. My pill organizer sat open beside him, every chamber emptied. "What are you doing?" I gasped. He did not look startled, not even guilty. He looked annoyed, like I had interrupted a chore. "Fixing your medication," he said calmly, too calmly. "You were mixing things up again." "I never mixed them. You did yesterday," he said with a tight smile. "Do not you remember?" My throat went dry. Gaslighting, subtle, steady, rotting my confidence day by day. "Why are you home early?" he asked. I had errands." He stood slowly, walking toward me with a look I had seen on strangers but never on my own child. "Helen," he said using my name, not Mom. "You should have told me where you went." I swallowed hard. "I am allowed to go out," he tilted his head, almost pitying. "Not when people expect me to take care of you, take care of me." Those words should have sounded loving, safe. Instead, they felt like a cage snapping shut. I clutched my purse close, feeling the folder from Mr. Pierce inside. He noticed. "What is in there?" "Nothing." He took a step forward. I stepped back. And in that moment, the moment my own son stalked me across my own kitchen like prey, realized something painful but undeniable. I was not safe with him. Not anymore. Maybe I had not been safe for a long time. But he miscalculated one thing. One huge thing. I may have been 70. I may have been grieving. I may have been shaky, forgetful, lonely. But I was not weak. Not yet. Not by a long shot. That night, while he slept, I hid the forged documents under a loose floorboard Robert had installed in '98. Daniel did not know about it. I prayed he never would. And then, heart pounding, I slipped into the living room, plugged in my old flip phone, and did the most frightening thing I had done in years. I called a private investigator. When she answered, her voice was brisk and practical. "This is Nora Keene." My throat tightened. I think my son is trying to take my home. And maybe my life." There was a long pause. Then, "Tell me everything," and I did. For the first time, I told someone everything. Nora came to my house the next morning. She did not look like the detectives in movies. No long trench coat, no sunglasses indoors. She was maybe 40, tall, with tired eyes and a voice that made you feel like she had seen more truth than most priests. She did not waste time on pleasantries. She walked in, glanced around, and said, "Where is your son now?" "At work," I whispered. "He leaves at 7, she nodded. "Good. Show me everything." I brought her to the loose floorboard. My hands trembled as I lifted it and revealed the folder. She crouched down, pulled out each document, and held them up to the light. "These are not amateur forgeries," she said quietly. "This is deliberate, intentional. Someone practiced your signature, Daniel." My voice cracked. "He knows how I sign my name. He has been watching you sign it for decades," she said. Her calmness made the truth sharper, crueler. "Do you have any other concerns?" she asked. I told her about the man in the doorway, the threats, the missing money, my medication, the bitter taste in my tea. She did not interrupt. She just listened, scribbling notes. When I finished, she closed her notebook and said, "Helen, you are in danger." "I know," I whispered. "And your son is in debt. Serious debt. Probably gambling. Maybe worse." I felt a wave of dizziness. "He never told me." "He would not," she said. "He would hide it until it became your problem." A cold ache spread across my chest. "What do we do?" I asked. "We gather proof. But you need to act normal. Do not confront him. Do not change your behavior. Do not make him suspicious." "But he watches me," I whispered. "Everywhere I go. Then we make sure he watches what we want him to watch." She stood, walked to my bookshelf, and picked up a small decorative vase. She turned it over, unscrewed the bottom, and pulled out a tiny camera the size of a pill. Where did you get that? I stammered. I installed it, she said. Just now. My eyes widened. I did not even see that is the point. In the next hour, she set up 6 hidden cameras. One in the kitchen vent, one behind a framed photo of Robert, one inside the smoke detector, one under the lip of the counter, one in the hallway, and one smallest of all inside the lid of my pill organizer. I do not want to catch your son, she said, tightening a screw. I want the truth. Whatever it is. When she left, the house felt different. Not safer, not yet, but no longer helpless. For a few days, I acted normal. I made tea. I folded laundry. I sat in my rocking chair and pretended to nap, all while my eyes tracked Daniel's movements like a hunted animal studying its predator. I wanted to believe I was imagining things. I wanted to believe my boy, the same boy who used to fall asleep on my chest, would never harm me. But the cameras caught it. Everything. The first footage Nora showed me made my stomach turn. Daniel entered the kitchen at dawn. He opened my pill organizer. He shook out a few tablets. Then he took my razor blade, and shaved the sides of my memory pills until they were half their original size. That is why you have been foggy, Nora murmured. I covered my mouth. He poured something into my tea kettle, a colorless liquid from a tiny bottle he kept in his pocket. What is that? I whispered. Still testing, she said. But my guess is something to make you drowsy, anxious, confused. Another clip. Daniel on the phone. Yeah, she is slipping. Yesterday she did not even know what day it was. No, I did not tell her. What is the point? She will not remember. I will have her sign the rest by Thursday. I felt tears sting my eyes. Thursday. He wanted my signature. He wanted everything. Nora looked at me gently. Helen, he is building a case that you are incompetent. Once he has that power of attorney fully authorized, you lose every right you have. Your home, your bank accounts, your medical decisions, everything. My breath hitched. And then, I whispered. She hesitated. Once he gets what he wants, you are a liability, a word colder than winter wind. The next video sealed everything. Daniel entered my room while I slept. He leaned over me, not lovingly, not checking on me. He held a phone flashlight over my chest and whispered, "Just go along with it, Mom. Stop fighting me." My blood froze. That sound you hear, Nora said softly, is a man who has decided you are in the way. For the first time in my entire life, I felt a quiet, solid hatred settle in my bones. Not explosive, not dramatic, just done, finished, a door closing forever. What now? I asked. We gather evidence, she said, and we plan. What kind of plan? The kind that keeps you alive. Over the next few days, we worked silently, me pretending everything was normal, Nora analyzing footage and following Daniel's movements. On Friday, the deadline, the truth exploded. At p.m., the scarred man returned. I watched from the hallway as Daniel opened the side door. You have my money? The man growled. Daniel thrust a stack of bills into his hand. That is all I could get. That is 6,000, the man hissed. You owe 10, I know I am working on the rest. You have 2 weeks, the man snapped. 2, or you know what happens, Daniel swallowed. His voice shook. I will figure it out. I watched him from the shadows, his shoulders slumped, his hands trembling. And I realized something horrible. My son was not just greedy. He was not just cruel. He was drowning. And he was using me as a life raft. He was willing to sink me to save himself. I pressed a hand to my chest and whispered, how did we end up here? But I already knew. Years of small selfishness, debt addiction, greed, and a mother who forgave too much for too long. When the man left, Daniel slammed the door and punched the wall. Hard, so hard the picture frame above it fell and shattered. He crouched down, breath ragged, and whispered, I will get it. I will get it all. She will not fight me. She cannot fight me. I felt something click inside me. A switch, a final line crossed. I was not going to let my son destroy me. Not my life. Not my home. Not my dignity. Not again. The next morning, Nora called with a tight voice. Helen, we have enough. More than enough. What now? I asked. Now, she said, we take this to the authorities, and Daniel? My voice was barely a whisper. That is up to you, she replied. But Helen, justice does not wait forever. I stared at the window, the winter light casting long shadows across the floor. Justice. I had never wanted that word for my own child. But I was not crazy. I was not confused. I was not weak. I was a mother, a survivor. And I was about to reclaim my life. I did not eat that morning. I did not drink. I did not even turn the TV on. I just sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I had fed Daniel mashed peas, taught him multiplication, watched him finish his homework, and later watched him avoid my eyes as he lied about where he had been. Funny, is not it? How one table can witness an entire lifetime: love, resentment, secrets, betrayal. Nora arrived at noon sharp, holding a laptop, a black folder, and a USB drive. Her expression told me everything before she even spoke. This is enough to open a full investigation, she said. But you need to decide how public you want this to be. Public. The word stung. Images flashed through my mind: neighbors watching from porches, police cars, whispers behind hands, people asking, what did Daniel do? My son, my only child, the boy I had shielded from the world. And yet the boy who had been preparing to bury me with paperwork long before the ground was cold. What are my options? I whispered. You can file a complaint privately. Let the detectives gather him quietly. Or, she hesitated, you can let the authorities come here, with us, with everything recorded. Why would I want that? Because a man who is this manipulative, she said, will try to talk his way out of anything. He will claim you are confused. He will twist your words. He will charm them. But if he sees they already know the truth, he will not get a chance. I looked down at my hands, thin, veined, trembling slightly. I curled them into fists. He took everything from me, I said. Everything I trusted. Everything I built. If he had succeeded, I would be gone. Nora softened. Then let us make sure he never tries again. She made the call. A detective agreed to come within the hour. They wanted to confront him here to ensure the situation was controlled and documented. I waited by the window. The winter sun hung low, pale and cold. At 2:10 p.m., Daniel's car pulled into the driveway. My heart thudded painfully. He is home early, I said. That is fine, Nora murmured. Stay calm. Let me talk first. We watched as Daniel walked toward the house, shoulders tense, eyes darting. Something was wrong. I could tell from the way he tossed his keys, from the deep crease between his brows. He opened the door and froze when he saw Nora. What is she doing here? He snapped. She is my friend, I said evenly. We were just talking, he scoffed. Since when do you have private investigators as friends? My blood went cold. How do you know what she is? He stopped, closed his mouth to late, looked at me with a flash of panic. Nora stepped forward. Daniel Lawson, I need you to sit down. No, he said, voice tightening. No, I am not talking to you. Mom, what did you tell her? I told her the truth, I whispered. His face shifted: fear to anger, anger to calculation. He moved toward me. What truth? You have been confused lately. You have been stressed. You do not know what you are saying. You are remembering things wrong. There it was. The script. Perfectly rehearsed. No, I am not, I said, surprising myself with the strength in my voice. He blinked, taken aback. At that moment, the knock came. A firm knock, controlled, authoritative. Daniel stiffened. Nora walked to the door and opened it. Two detectives stepped inside, Detective Morales and Sergeant Hale. They showed their badges calmly. Daniel Lawson? Morales asked. Daniel's voice shook. What is going on? We would like to talk to you, Hale said. About some documents. And some recordings. Recordings? Daniel looked at me sharply. What recordings? I felt my legs wobble, but I did not back down. I did not look away. Morales pulled out a folder. We have video evidence taken from inside this home. Your mother consented to the recordings. Daniel's face strained. She cannot consent to anything. She is not well. I stepped forward then. Not shaky, not timid. Stop saying I am not well, I said. Stop pretending this is about my memory. You know exactly what you did. Daniel swallowed hard. Mom, do not do this. Do what? I whispered. Tell the truth. Mrs. Lawson, Morales said gently. Would you like us to continue? Yes, I said without looking away from Daniel. Please, Morales set a laptop on the coffee table. Press play. The first clip. Daniel shaving my pills. I heard his breath hitch. The second, him pouring liquid into the kettle. He took a step backward, eyes darting. The third, the phone call where he said I was slipping. He opened and closed his mouth like he could not breathe. The fourth, him leaning over my sleeping body. He squeezed his hands into fists so tight his knuckles widened. And then the last clip, him talking to the scarred man, confessing debt, promising to get the rest from the old woman. His voice cracked. You recorded me? You set me up? I shook my head. No, Daniel. You set yourself up. He looked between me and the detectives, desperation rising. You cannot take her word. She is confused. She is. Hale cut him off. We are not taking her word. We are taking yours. Every action you took is right here on camera. Daniel's breathing sped up. His eyes darted toward the door. Panic. Pure panic. He whispered, I did not mean to hurt you. My voice was a hollow exhale. You did not have to mean it. You were doing it. He covered his face with his hands. I just needed the money. I thought once everything was settled, once the house was in my name, things would get better. By killing me? I whispered. He looked up sharply. No, not killing you. I just needed you to. Not fight it, I repeated. You wanted me silent, dependent, confused, alone. He shut his eyes. Tears leaked through his fingers. I did not know what else to do. You could have asked me, I said softly. I would have helped you. I always helped you. He shook his head. You would not have given me what I needed. And what did you need? I asked. He whispered, broken, everything. Silence wrapped around the room like fog. Finally, Morales stepped forward. Daniel Lawson, you are being detained for questioning regarding fraud, coercion, forgery, tampering with medication, and attempted financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Daniel stiffened. Wait, detained? No. You cannot, Mom. Please, Mom, help me. He reached for me. I stepped back. That movement, small, barely an inch, broke something inside him. I saw it in his eyes. The moment he realized I was choosing myself. For the first time in my life. No, he whispered. Please, not you. I swallowed hard. I am sorry, Daniel. He was trembling now. Mom, do not let them take me. Please, I can fix this. I promise, I can fix everything. I shook my head. I have given you too many chances. Hale placed handcuffs on him. Daniel did not fight. He crumbled. As they guided him toward the door, he looked back at me with a mix of fury and desperation. You will regret this, he choked out. No, I said softly. I regret not saving you sooner. They took him outside. Nora closed the door gently behind them. And just like that, after 70 years of surviving life, love, grief, motherhood, I collapsed into the nearest chair and finally let myself sob. Not because he was gone, not because I had failed, but because the truth had finally been spoken aloud. And the truth hurts, but lies destroy. The house felt unbearably quiet after they took Daniel away. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses on your lungs and makes the walls feel thinner, older, like they might crumble if you breathe too hard. I sat there in that silence, staring at the empty doorway where my son had stood just minutes earlier, wrists cuffed, face streaked with fear and anger. For years I imagined quiet as a blessing, peace, rest, stillness. But this quiet, this was loss. Raw, hollow loss. Nora stayed a while. She did not press me with questions. She did not try to comfort me with empty reassurances. She just made tea, set a cup in front of me, and sat across the table like a steadfast shadow. "Are you all right?" she finally asked, voice soft. I wiped my cheeks with my sleeve. "No, but I will be, I think. It is normal to feel torn," she said. "Love does not disappear because someone wronged you." I shook my head slowly. "I still love him. God help me, I still do. But I cannot save someone who was willing to sacrifice me." Nora reached out and touched my hand gently. "You saved yourself. That matters." The tea had gone cold by the time I found the strength to stand. The house looked different now, smaller, dimmer, ashamed somehow. As if it too had been keeping secrets. I walked down the hallway to Daniel's old room. The door was cracked open. I pushed it gently. His childhood posters still hung on the walls, baseball players, action heroes, the faded glow and the dark stickers he used to beg for. I had kept the room intact, even after he moved out the first time. I always thought he would come back someday, not as a burden, not as a stranger, but as my son. But life does not return what it takes, not the way we want. I sat on his bed and felt the dents where he had once thrown his backpack, where he had cried after losing a game, where he had slept after fighting with Robert. I closed my eyes and pictured the little boy he had been, dark hair sticking up in the morning, scraped knees, giggles that echoed through the house like sunlight. "Where did I go wrong?" I whispered. Nora appeared at the door. "Kids make their own choices, Helen. You gave him a better childhood than most people ever get, yet he grew into someone who could poison my tea." Nora did not sugarcoat anything. "Greed changes people. Desperation changes them faster." I rubbed my temples. "He owes 10,000. She crossed her arms. "More now, with the interest and threats. What will happen to him?" I asked, voice trembling. She sighed. "The detectives will interview him. Depending on what he admits, the charges could escalate. Fraud, forgery, coercion, tampering with medication is serious. I do not know what is wrong with me. I do not know why I let things get this bad. I swear I never wanted to hurt you. I told myself you would be better off with me in charge, that you needed me. But really, I was the one who needed you. I do not deserve your love. I barely deserve a mother at all. But I hope someday you will think of me and not feel ashamed. I am sorry." Daniel, my chest tightened. The words blurred through tears. Sorry, a small word with so much weight. And yet even then, even in apology, he did not acknowledge the full truth. He did not admit the debt, the threats, the poisoning. He did not face the darkness of his actions. He apologized for being lost, not for almost losing me. I folded the letter and placed it in the drawer beside Robert's wedding ring. I did not write back. Weeks passed. Winter thawed slowly. I began cooking again, real meals, not the microwave dinners Daniel brought home. I rejoined my book club. I even planted early spring flowers in Robert's old garden bed. Healing is not a straight line. Some days I felt strong. Others I felt hollow. But every day I got up. I made my tea. I watered the plants. I opened the blinds. And every day I reminded myself, choosing my life was not betrayal. It was survival. The trial came in early spring. I wore a soft lavender dress, the one Robert always said made my eyes look kind. Nora came with me, holding my arm as we entered. Daniel looked different, thinner, paler, his hair longer, his eyes shadowed. He did not look at me until he was let in. When he did, something inside me twisted. There was no accusation in his eyes this time. No anger, only regret. Maybe sorrow. Maybe the weight of consequences finally settling on his shoulders. When the verdict was read, my heart clenched. Guilty. Several charges. He would serve time. He would pay restitution. He would receive mandatory counseling. Part of me broke. Part of me exhaled. Afterward, the judge asked if I wanted to address him one final time. I stood slowly, knees steady beneath me. Daniel, I said softly, I hope prison teaches you what I could not: responsibility, honesty, humility. I hope you find the man you were meant to be, but I cannot be the one to guide you anymore. His eyes filled with tears, but he did not speak. I love you, I whispered, but I choose myself now. They led him away. This time, he did not call out for me. When I returned home that afternoon, the house felt warm, safe, alive. I walked to the porch, breathing in the soft scent of spring. Birds chirped in the oak tree. A neighbor waved. For the first time in months, maybe years, the world did not feel threatening. It felt like mine again. As I rocked in my chair, watching the sun dip behind the horizon, I realized something important. I did not lose a son. I released a danger. I reclaimed my dignity, and I rediscovered my strength. Strength I never knew I still had. And now, as I sit here sharing my story, I want you, yes, you watching, to hear this. If someone you love ever makes you feel small, helpless, confused, or afraid, you are not weak, you are not worthless, and you are not alone. Speak up, reach out, save yourself before you are erased from your own life. Tell me, what would you have done in my place? And if my story touched you, if it opened your eyes or your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your voice might help someone else escape their own silent nightmare.